And so the day is almost over, as far as I'm concerned, in this park. So another incredible, revelatory session of introspection. Now, when we take these substances, the plant medicines, entheogens, i.e. ayahuasca, psilocybin, they are like a crash course in therapy. You literally get 20 or 50 hours of decent introspective therapy, because the message is so powerful. It's not like you need to reiterating it and reiterating it and having it drip fed to you like in a therapy session. It's powerful and you get it. And goodness me, they ban this stuff. Can you imagine, people? They're either at the height of ignorance or they are very, very sinister. And I guess it's debatable which is closer to the truth, because we know that the powers that be are very naive and stupid in many, many respects. They're most certainly not awakened or enlightened or evolved. They've just been indoctrinated into the matrix. And it's something that they don't comprehend. They would never be able to get their heads around it. And so they just think, like, ban it and put them in prison if they do it. Can you imagine, people? Can you imagine? Just having your own therapy. You don't hurt anybody, you're not at a risk to anybody or yourself. You just take some natural substance and you have the greatest insight that you could ever imagine. So I've had a lot of these big trips, and they've all been very powerful, really powerful. And some of people may consider they're bad trips, like having Yahweh kick my ass for 3.5 hours. That was a big deal. But and then when the forest wanted to experience my libido, enticed me in and kind of like had sex with me. It sounds very bizarre to those people that haven't partook in those things, but for those of you that had, then there's nothing out of the spectrum of outlandish. And so we just go, yeah, that stuff happens. And so I'm feeling very, very satiated, very accomplished. When you get the calling for these substances, you start to get called many months. And so even last year, when I was picking these things, I was only microdosing and I was saving the big one for the summer. And so that's 8 months ago. It's been in the pipeline. And the time and the place and everything. It's all plotted, it's all planned. It's all written into the cosmos. And then when you are building up to it, a few days, you've got to pick the right day. Some days you think, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, and then it doesn't feel right. So don't do it. You got to do it when it feels right. And then when it feels right, you go for it 100%, knowing that it's absolutely 1,000% to your benefit, that you follow through wholeheartedly and you don't have any reservations, no doubts, no fears. And when you're in it, you have to sit with it. You get a good talking to. And so you were privy in some of the dialogues, particularly when I was lying down. That was when I was in the heart of it, and the awakened brave was having a good talking to. And he had to accept things, own up to things, confess to things. The ego had to step aside. And of course, under normal circumstances, it's not necessarily the easiest thing to do. But with the help of the plant medicines, then it's a lot easier. And when we do this, sometimes we can cry, we can get great catharsis. This particular occasion, there was no tears. Kind of been through a lot of that. It's stuff that I already knew. Just needed a reiteration. Just needed that final confirmation. Or at least a regular confirmation. Because we need to revisit these things. Every 6 months, year, maximum 2 years. You can't go more than 2 years without revisiting these things. Because otherwise the ego comes back too powerful. We have to keep this spiritual practice, people. And it's keeping in touch with God, keeping in touch with the higher self. Otherwise, we get drawn away by the other characters which are coming along for the ride. In my case, Supercilious and the Saboteur. And this awakened brave character. He's a character. He just plays out roles. He's just having the crack. Sometimes he's a little bit serious about what he says. Most times he's not. You know, he'll tell you he doesn't believe in anything. What's his belief? So you see these trees like this. That one apparently is about 1,300 years old. And I do believe there used to be a plaque. But it looks like it's gone now. And look how this limb's coming down. And you see all these trees, they end up getting struck by lightning at some stage in their 1,000 years or 1,500 years on this planet. They all end up hollow and burnt, but they just keep living. They are amazingly robust and determined that they are going to have a very, very long Earth experience. And this part gives you that impression that they've been here for a long time. Now, the youngest trees are 500 years old, and the oldest one there is probably 1,300 years old. They've seen a lot of stuff. They've seen a lot of human shenanigans. 1,500 years, almost back to biblical times. These trees have been here. And they've seen all different sorts of fashions and styles, and felt varying vibrations from the human being. Now this little noggin down here, on mushrooms or DMT, you would most certainly see a face. A bit like a stonefish with its upturned mouth and its wonky eyes. You know, a bit like a flatfish, like a plaice or a dab, something like that. And that would be throbbing. And it would be living. You'd know it would be living. And so that's why you know that the whole world is living. Because everything's breathing. Everything has a vibration to it. And everything is one. And when you know everything is one, well, it's kind of like comforting in a way. to know everything is one, everything is you. It's also a little bit distressing when you look at all the hellish stuff on earth and the varieties of people that the last thing you want to have any relationship with is them. But you know, we're all one on this earth, even if you only look at it like that, on this tiny little dot. Millions and millions and millions of miles away. We don't even know if there's any other life. We're just here. How can we consider ourselves anything else other than one? Only in our abject ignorance could we do that. We have to keep deluding ourselves every second of every day that we're not one, that we're separate. And this notion of separateness helps us in lots of respects to live out this human existence. And so it's all perfect. It serves its purpose. We are all one, but we are under the delusion of separateness because that's the rule set. But some of us, we manage to emancipate ourselves from the rule set, and we see the bigger picture and we go, wow. And that's called waking up or becoming enlightened. And then when we do this, we look very, very differently at the world. Very different people. And the stark contrast of a place like this to the cities and all of those automaton, all of those lost souls, all of those unrealized human beings. Are they ever going to realize themselves this time around? Most don't. How many times do people have to come? How many lives do they have to live before one day they'll become self-realized? I wonder how many times my spirit has been to planet Earth. How long did it take me? People have always said I'm an old soul. They could always see that from a very young age. I wonder how many times I woke up in the past. I wonder how much waking up I have to do. I wonder how many times I'm coming back to really become self-realized. Maybe where I'm at now is just the very, very tip of the iceberg. Maybe there's a whole lot more, and doubtless there is. I don't think we could ever be too complacent about thinking that we know it all, or even that we know anything. I think we always have to be exceedingly humble and just enjoy what we've got, because what we've got, people, is a miracle. And if we live in very negative environments, we may find that hard to accept. But if we step outside of those environs and we come to places like this, then we most certainly will find it easier to believe that, because our minds will become settled. They will be influenced by the beauty all around us, and the more time we spend in nature, the more time nature is going to work its magic upon our souls. And so this is why we absolutely have to spend a lot of time in nature, because nature nurtures the soul. Now this is where I started. I took my medicine on that bench just there, and then I just waited to enter into the dream. And so now I'll get on my wonderful electric mountain bike and I've got to pass. I've got to traverse these matrixial ley lines before I enter into my tranquil little village, where I will put my bike in my apartment and get back to basics, which is going to the gym and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, people, hope you've enjoyed these videos and you found them useful, inspiring, and for those of you that have never tried any of these substances, they're not too terrifying, but you are going to look at yourself. And that's the thing, isn't it? Most people are terrified of themselves, or they're terrified of the abyss, entering into the abyss. When you go into a psychedelic experience, you're in there, you're in it, and nobody can pull you out. So it's you. It's like that movie, I, Me, Myself and Irene. You've got all that stuff to contend with. But if you've got the metal for it, if you're destined to do it, you will.